What's up, guys? Jake Berlin here. Get ready because Avengers Infinity War is now just a few weeks away. The monster Marvel movie is now on the horizon, and we are so excited here at Apocalypse Movies in anticipation for the big, giant blockbuster of every Marvel character ever. We have decided to put an entire list of MCU movies ranked by a certain number together. Now, the way it works is we have put together our personal lists. We have brought them together by a point system. The point system works as follows. The first movie on our list gets 18 points because there are 18 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The 18th movie gets 1 point. Everything in between kind of counteracts itself. We add that together. Highest points are at the top, low points at the bottom. This is not us saying that one movie is horrible and one movie is better than the most. This is what we got together with all of our lists combined. We wanted to do separate videos for you, kind of breaking them down, reacting, and kind of revisiting all of these movies because we have been through a monster journey of 10 years of Marvel movies. Now we're going to try and release 6 a week leading up, and that week of Infinity War we're going to release a number of different videos for the movie. We are so excited. We hope you enjoy these videos. And again, don't hate us for ranking these videos differently, but enjoy them at the same time.
Captain America's always been one of my favorite superheroes, and so hearing Chris Evans being cast as Captain America, I was a little apprehensive at first, feeling like they already have used Chris Evans. He's Johnny Storm, but boy was I wrong. He was the perfect casting for Captain America, if not next to Iron Man as one of the best castings in the MCU. He personifies that character. He is Captain America. He will forever be Captain America.
So I actually did really like Chris Evans in this movie, and especially because he's playing a different Steve Rogers and Captain America than he does in Winter Soldier or Civil War or any other MCU film. He's playing Steve Rogers back in the 1940s, so it's kind of somewhat a different character. He hasn't gone through what he's gone through. He hasn't woken up over decades and decades of years and found himself in a totally different time era. So the way Chris Evans was playing this Captain America in this movie, I thought he did such a great job.
Captain America is my all-time favorite superhero. There's no one above him for me. Like, he is the epitome of a superhero. He's exactly what a superhero should be, straight from the comic books, right? But that doesn't mean that I've always been on board with seeing him on screen. I was nervous. I was scared to see what they were going to do with the character with the First Avenger. But after I watched the movie, I was completely and 100% wrong and sold on the idea of this character coming to screen. Was I excited? Hell yeah, I was excited. But that doesn't mean that I wasn't scared to see what they're going to do with him because I didn't want him to be screwed up. The First Avenger, fantastic. It is awesome. The way they twisted his origin to fit into this universe and everything else going on, how everything else kind of ties back to him. Awesome. Like, I am so happy the way that John Johnston did this movie, the way that Kevin Feige kind of just gave them direction to do this movie. Marvel, like, everyone involved. Chris Evans, fantastic. Nobody can play him better. He is the perfect choice for this character. He has embodied him from the very beginning. He has brought so much uniqueness and charisma and just straight Captain America from the comic books to screen. Like, I can't describe how much I enjoy seeing him play this character. My all-time, my childhood hero played by him. I am so satisfied.
Mr. Stark!
The origin of Captain America is one of those stories that if you're a comic book person, you understand where this is going and where this came from as far as him being developed to fight the Nazis and Hydra in World War II. And the way Marvel took it and made it into the movie worked out fantastic. I think that it made it believable in a sense while still keeping it that comic book fantasy, something that is kind of impossible to really happen.
So in Captain America, the First Avenger, they have this World War II setting, and I thought for the most part it worked very well. It's for some reason, a lot of people don't talk about this movie, and I think it deserves a lot more credit than it's given. You can't really have the next two Captain America films, or even arguably the Avengers film, without having this film set up a lot of things, especially the Tesseract. But I do like the setting of the World War II and how Steve shows that he's a hero before he gets the powers. One moment I always think of is when he jumps on top of that grenade, and that's the thing that gets the scientist's attention to show that he was the right person for the project. So I do like the setting in the beginning and how Steve stood out in that setting before he got the powers.
You are deluded, Captain. You pretend to be a simple soldier, but in reality, you are just afraid to admit that we have left humanity behind.
Marvel always continues to get flack for their villain game in this MCU, right? Like, we only have maybe a handful of great villains. We have Loki, we have Abomination, you know, that can be argued either way. We got Killmonger, and maybe a few others that we really, really remember, okay? One of them is Red Skull. Hugo Weaving captured this character to the T.
Was Red Skull the right villain for the first Captain America movie? Absolutely. He is the Captain America villain. I do want to see him back, but yeah, he's a great villain, and especially for this time era, for the whole Hail Hydra thing and what they were going for and how they are comparing them to basically being Nazis. And I thought Red Skull was just the perfect villain for that, and when he pulls off that human skin or whatever, it's such a great moment, and it's classic for the Captain America for the comics. And I do think that you couldn't have gone any other way with the first villain in this movie.
Your right foot forward.
You gonna wrestle? Cause I got a few moves I know you'll like.
Oh, Haley Atwell. She is not only one of the bright spots of this movie, she brings such a different feel and vibe, and she plays off of Chris Evans and Dominic Cooper and Tommy Lee Jones in this movie so well. She is so good playing Agent Carter, Peggy Carter. She's the perfect choice. She is. Not only does she do that, but she is so beautiful. Like, she is such a good-looking woman. I am so happy that they not only gave her a shot in this movie, that they gave her a pretty big role, but they also gave her that spin-off television series. Now, it didn't work out the way they wanted to, obviously, but I was happy to see the character kind of live on just a little bit because I enjoyed her so much in the first Avenger.
Come on. Why last night? Gotta get you cleaned up.
Why? Where are we going?
Future.
So one thing I really enjoyed in this movie was the relationship and introduction to Bucky and Cap, having that friendship and how they were friends before he got the powers and everything like that. It really adds to their relationship later on. But when Bucky died, at the time, I didn't know my comic knowledge like I do now, just because I've done research and stuff like that and I've read on. But I did know what he ends up becoming. I did know he becomes the Winter Soldier, but I didn't know how. So it was really cool to see it develop on screen and see what ends up happening with it. So it wasn't surprising to see him back, but to see the way they did it without knowing exactly how they do it, that was pretty cool.
The supporting characters around Captain America are something that's unique that we don't really get to see in other movies outside of movies like Thor, where they have these group of friends that really back them up. And the most unique relationship is that of Bucky and Captain America. They're lifelong friends. They are with each other from beginning to end pretty much. And it's something that really is a part of Captain America and these relationships that he makes with these people.
So back when this movie came out, I honestly didn't know the plans for the Infinity Stones or anything like that. I didn't know about the Infinity Gauntlet. I didn't know all of that stuff to the extent that I do now. And to find out that that object in one of the very first early MCU films, in the first Captain America film, ended up having such a big presence. Look at it now, it's highlighted in the Infinity War trailer. It's a huge presence throughout the whole entire MCU. I honestly didn't know that it was an Infinity Stone, but it was cool that you can trace it back that far in the MCU and it still has a big presence.